It's Dana, the owner and developer of FormCheck Plus. Today we're going behind the brand, the FormCheck Plus brand. I'm going to give you the full rundown from start until now about my story, why I wanted to create the FormCheck Plus app, and why I wanted to turn it into a brand. It's going to be a bit of a longer video, but that's just because this is something that's going to be raw, unedited footage from my heart, speaking everything to you right from the horse's mouth, my mouth, the app owner and developer, which is me. And it's just something that I can't put into words in a Facebook or Instagram post because it's just too meaningful and it's better to narrate it this way. So starting from humble beginnings. When I was younger as a little girl, I never wanted to do my nails with nail polish, figure out how to do my hair, or play with Barbie dolls. I wanted to play sports. Anything with sports or a ball, you name it, I wanted to do it. And I had more guy friends because of it. Out here on the driveway, my parents used to put water down to make like a mock ice skating rink. And I would take a hockey puck with my dad and just hit the puck back and forth with a stick, kind of making like a game out of it, or like whatever, just playing for fun. And at the age of 5, I was dribbling a basketball, and because I'm from upstate New York, I got stuck in a snowstorm one time with my mom in Binghamton, and we had to spend the night at a hotel. When we were there, I asked her to put the Knicks on TV, and now it's crazy because they're in the NBA Finals, Knicks in 6. And my family as a whole was also pretty athletic. I have a cousin who used to pitch professionally in baseball and a cousin who's associated with the NBA. She was actually the first female assistant coach in the NBA, and now she's a coach for the WNBA. Won't name drop just for the sake of keeping names out of it, but she's a second cousin once removed, and the other one is a cousin. So I've always been pretty athletic too. It's just come second nature to me, sports and fitness, especially weightlifting. I've had people tell me I'm genetically gifted with strength. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what they say. So started out when I was 5 dribbling a basketball, but I played Little League and then also basketball. And then in middle school, I played basketball, softball, and volleyball, played all 3 sports all the way up until I graduated high school. But honestly, it was not always easy for me, and there was a lot of drawbacks and a lot of adversity that I faced, and specifically one story that I always come back to time and time again. That was basketball. Junior year, I think it was, I was a point guard and a shooting guard, and it was either the first or second quarter. I scored 11 points in 5 minutes. I was ripped out of the game and benched for the rest of the game, and honestly benched a lot when I played in high school with these specific coaches, and that's because the coach's daughter was always in competition with me. They're always pitting me up against her to see who could score more points. I don't know why, but they were like threatened by me or whatever. So that was tough playing basketball for me because I was always benched even though I was good. And I think that's why I was benched, was because I was good. So that was rough. And then where the weightlifting comes in is in high school. So I loved gym. I actually, side note, loved pickleball, which is comical because people always used to make fun of me for loving that as one of the units in gym, and now it's huge worldwide. There's even like a professional pickleball association, so haha to the people who laughed at me because of that, because look how big it is now. But I like that, and floor hockey. But I wanted to change, so they offered a strength training course in place of gym. I took it, immediately fell in love with it. We did everything from tire flips to the assisted pull-ups with the band, clean and jerks, a lot of CrossFit stuff, also rowing and jump rope, ab mat sit-ups, all that stuff, which also transferred over to sports because when you were playing sports, you had to do different sports-specific training on practice days when you didn't have a match or a game. But the problem with that was everybody was always injured because we had to do these moves and exercises as fast as we could, and we weren't worried about form. So I remember I always had like lower back problems, and everybody on the football team was constantly injured because of that. And also the volleyball team, we would come back from like a Gracie workout or whatever it was, where you do like the clean and jerks for 5 minutes, and no one could serve over the net, and everybody had to go get ice because they were injured. So that's where the form really comes into play here as well. But I was always asking the teacher of that class, like, what should I eat beforehand? What should I eat after? What should I drink? Stuff, questions like that. Stuff no one else was asking. And the reason I was is because I liked it. So from there, I kept with weightlifting, kept with sports. And then one day in the hallway, the athletic director pulled me in because I guess he had a class that was doing chin-ups. So they were doing teams to see who could do the most chin-ups. So he asked me, hey, can you do like 3 chin-ups so we can win? I was like, yeah. So I did more than 3, and then he told me to stop. We walked out, And I asked him something about weightlifting, whatever, and he goes, I guarantee you won't lift weights after high school. That was 2016, it's now 2026. I've been lifting for 10 years now and never stopped, never took a break at all for 10 years. Just kept go. So another time that I faced adversity and pushback from someone who told me I couldn't. So all through high school, I kind of dealt with stuff like that. But again, like, I just kind of ignored it and just stuck with it because it was something I was passionate about. And I was like, I'm not going to let someone's stupid comment keep me back from doing what I really love and enjoy. So all the way up past high school, I kept doing that. And then a family friend knew that I was into that stuff. And he kind of coached people who were going into the Marines or state police because he was associated with the state police for many, many years. So just doing like the physical training aspect of it. And he pulled me aside and helped me fix my deadlift form to get so that I didn't have back pain. And he was able to do that, and we kept with like a lot of that stuff. So we did like burpees. He got me into kettlebells, tire flips, bucket lunges, really just basic stuff to build a nice foundation so that I could just build upon that. But really nail the basics down first, the form and everything else. Then I joined the gym, the same gym I use now, that I go to on and off throughout the years when I've moved and stuff like that. But I joined it, and the problem is that I knew what I was doing somewhat, but I wanted to learn more, and there was not always someone that I could go to every single time that would be there at the same time I was to say, hey, how do I do this? How's my form look? Where am I going wrong? If I'm failing, why is it? How do I fix it? So I was watching YouTube videos and stuff and constantly asking people, but was still stuck all the time because there's only so much you can look at. And even watching the guy that I first started watching from, Sadiq Hadzovic, he's a pro bodybuilder. He's about 40 years old, still going strong. If you don't know who he is, I would highly suggest you look him up. I love him because he's very humble like me. He does it for the love of the sport. He doesn't care so much about winning. In fact, all of his trophies are actually in his closet, I believe, or all the medals that he's won, because he just loves it for the love of it on its own, the passion that he has for lifting weights, same as me. But even like though I was able to learn how to do a T-bar row and stuff for him, still didn't really fully understand what I was doing. And then did all of that all throughout college as well. Like, I wanted to play softball in college, but I didn't think I could dedicate my time to my curriculum. So philosophy and history, a lot of paper writing and a lot of reading. So I just stuck with the weightlifting. And then when I moved to Vermont for my master's program and law school, I continued to weightlift. I joined a gym in New Hampshire because I was on the border of Vermont and New Hampshire, and the director of the gym came up to me and said, hey, I see you here every day and stuff. You look like you're really into this. You should try a powerlifting competition. And I was like, well, I don't know. Like, I'm kind of fine just doing this for myself every day. Like, that's what I was there for. Honestly, at the end of the day, it was to get better, faster, and stronger. And another side note, in high school, I was told I was in the red zone, which means I was overweight and fat by the school nurse. So I always kind of had a complex about my weight, and that's another huge reason why I was into fitness to begin with. So I was like, I guess I'll try it. Like, what do I have to lose? So I did one competition, loved it immediately again, kind of just dipped my feet in the water, dipped my toes in the water just to see like how it would go. So I didn't win that one for my age and weight class, but I liked competing. It just gave me like a benchmark to, or like a goal to kind of have a certain weight on each of my lifts by that date, and I just liked the atmosphere, so I kept with it. So I did 5 more competitions after that, serving as my own coach, did all my nutritional stuff, all my programs, plans, etc. It was all done by me, didn't have anyone to help me but myself, and won all 5 of those, first place for my age and weight class. But again, faced adversity along the way. There were people that were pitting me up against other girls in the gym that were competing because they had coaches and I didn't. And a lot of times I was able to PR more than them using my own program rather than the one that their coach gave them. And a lot of them, one specifically indirectly came up to me and said she was going to drop down to my weight class because people in her weight class were always getting better, insinuating that I'm not getting better. It's easier to win my weight class because of that. And I was like, well, I'm just doing this for the love of the game. Like, chances are if you do it because you love it, you'll stick with it over the long term, more so than if you're just chasing records or trying to compete with people. Because at the end of the day, for me, it is not about competing with anybody else. I don't care what anybody else does if I'm going to a competition or even at the gym. I'm just there for myself, to get better for myself, competing with my own numbers. It's never been about anybody else, and it never will be. And I think everybody should have that mentality. That's how you grow and that's how you learn. If you want to learn something, go up to people. I used to do that all the time at the competitions. I would go up to some of these people were literally squatting like 900 pounds, benching over 500. And I was mesmerized by that. So I went up and talked to them and built a relationship with them, bounced ideas off of them. So I don't really understand the concept of like jealousy and just competing with other people, because at the end of the day, you're doing it for yourself. Like, this is your journey and everyone's looks different and everyone starts from a different starting point. So I didn't understand that. And it was so bad to that my last competition, I was actually lied to. I couldn't enter the competition 2 months ahead of time before it would even start, because I was told that there was 15 people on the waiting list, which there was never a waiting list any of the times that I've done these competitions. But that's because they didn't want me to compete, because I was winning and beating or doing better than the people that they coached when I didn't have a coach. It's unfortunate, but again, it happens in the fitness community and industry. I wish it didn't, but it was just something that I was faced with. So I was like, okay, whatever. I'm just going to continue training as if I would for a competition and just doing the same things and getting better. But again, I would have to resort to YouTube and stuff like that to kind of see where I was going wrong. So when I moved back to New York for a job, one day I was faced with this thought late at night in my bed. I was like, well, what if I could create a service or an app or something like that that would help people solve this problem, help people who are like me, love the gym, maybe they're just starting, maybe they're a little bit more intermediate or advanced, but have the same problem of not knowing where their form is going wrong. So I thought about it, and I was searching all over the internet for ways that I could start an app or figure out like the process of doing that. So I found Base 44, and Base 44 allowed me to start that process. So I stayed up until 2 or 3 a.m. that night trying to figure out how to get this app going. I put in a bunch of prompts. I can make a separate video on that if you'd like, but I was able to put in a bunch of different prompts on saying like, I want to create an app that does this, this, and this, that has the FormCheck, but again, beyond just the FormCheck, and can do other things like competition programs, progress photos, so everybody has a solid foundation, a baseline available to them at all times, all in one device on one app. So that was like a 2-week process from start to the App Store, and it was kind of crazy because I didn't know how to navigate the Apple process of getting like all that stuff updated and getting it on as like a native app as opposed to just on your phone as a home screen. So I reached out to a bunch of different people on a Facebook page asking for help, because I was told originally that it would cost thousands of dollars to have someone that's like an actual developer that does this for a living and helps people. But I was actually able to not pay that much money, and this guy was gracious enough to help me and give me a little blueprint of how to do it, because he had an app himself. So I followed that step by step, and Apple, if you don't know, has a rigorous review process. So there's regulations and stuff that you have to follow, and if it doesn't live up to that, you have to continuously fix it. So the review process, it might say in review, and then it'll come back with stuff for you to fix. So one day my app was in review for a while, so I was like, well, this should be good, like maybe this is it. And boom, I eventually got approved, which means that my app was able to go to the App Store for purchase. So before that though, like I wanted to get it as close to everything that I had on it, but I also wanted to launch it, because what good is this program or this app if it's not accessible to people, people don't know about it and know that it can help solve their problems, and also give them the confidence that they need to step into the gym, or just use it for like AI guided meditation or martial arts, body weight exercises, all of that stuff, mindset things. So I was like, well, it's close to what I want it to be, so let's just launch it. So I launched it, and then because I wanted to make it accessible, that's why I did that, and to help people around the world with their health and fitness goals. That's why I got it on the App Store. But I figured, well, what is something that I can do with this that I learned in law school? So in law school, I learned how to trademark, stuff about patents and stuff like that. So if you see FormCheck Plus with the TM after it and the little slogan that I created, Master Your Craft, Perfect Your Form, TM, that's because we are under trademark review right now. So once it gets approved, I can put the little R after it, which means it's a registered trademark. So in doing that, I created these headbands. I have one left. If anyone wants it, I will ship it to you. No charge, I'll pay for it all. And I created a sweatshirt and also t-shirts and stuff like that, pens, dog collars. It's all on my Zazzle site, but full disclosure, I don't set the prices for that, Zazzle does. I also just created an ebook guide with all this information. It gives you a beginner, intermediate, and advanced workout split. It also has a full form guide, so like how to set up exercises, tips where people normally go wrong. It's got a little bit of a backstory that I'm talking about here and a whole lot more. So it's just something that I wanted to do extra for this, I would say, movement. Honestly, I think FormCheck Plus is kind of a movement. So that's what I wanted to do, and it's my way of giving back to the fitness community and helping people out. And the most meaningful way I can think of doing it is providing a service that doesn't cost as much as a personal trainer or a one-on-one fitness coach. And yeah, they say like you get what you pay for, and to some extent I agree with that, but I don't think you should have to pay hundreds or thousands of dollars a month for a personal fitness coach that's not always available to you, when I can have an app that has all of this other stuff that they would do, including like a physique judge for bodybuilding that can score you and give you tips to improve your posing and your posing routine before show day, a full mindset page with journaling, voice logging journaling, affirmations, books that you're reading, podcasts, and correlating that with how it's affecting your mental mind game with your training, but also just like how you are mentally throughout the day, every day. Competition plans, as I said, stuff for like sports specific programs, creating a program with no equipment included, so like you don't need a gym for it. I think I just did a video on that the other day. Warm-up routines, a PR warm-up scheme so you're not guessing your lifts, build up to your PR. I've got a bunch of stuff on there. There's so much stuff, and that's the idea behind this, was not to make it so much weight focused, but to make it sports too, because I like weightlifting, but I also am a sports fanatic. And I wanted to create a service that was accessible and useful to somebody every day. Something that someone would pick up. You're just like, wake up in the morning, go to the gym, or go about your daily day, and have that right in your pocket. As I say, a 24/7 game plan accessible from your pocket, anytime, anywhere, and it doesn't cost you anything at all. So yes, my app does cost about $1.99 on the App Store, but I frequently knock the price down to 99 cents and oftentimes free. And that's because it was my idea, so I'm not gonna fully give it away for free all the time, but it should be at a price that's not outrageous. Like, this is health, this is fitness, this is for longevity purposes, and giving back to the community, you shouldn't be asking people to pay through the nose for a service that can help them all the time. That's the idea behind this. That's my mission. It's to give back to the fitness community and arena in a way in which I know how to do best, which is providing a service to people. And the best way that I can think of is to do it is this way. Help someone else out, give them the tools and the know-how that I wish I had when I was first starting out, and to also make people feel welcome, because as I mentioned before, I faced a lot of adversity and still do to this day. Recently, like a couple months ago, I had 3 guys try to get me kicked out of the gym where I started it all because of the fact that I was deadlifting. They claimed that I was banging weights around, which I actually wasn't, and comically enough, those are the 3 people that actually do slam weights, and none of them deadlift. So I've just faced like a lot of pushback in my fitness just because, yes, not bragging, but I am good at what I do, but that's because I've worked at it for 10 years. And I wanted to share my 10 years worth of knowledge with everybody, because I don't think anyone should have to face that like I did. I don't think people should be reprimanded just because they're good at something. If you want to be better at something, go and ask someone who's doing it for years on end or knows what they're doing, someone who has expertise in the field, if you really want to get better. Personally, I don't understand the concept of jealousy or envy like that, or even comparing yourself or trying to compete with other people. If you're doing it for yourself and you want to get better yourself, why do you compete with other people? Why don't you just ask them what they're doing that helps them? So to me, the jealousy and the competitiveness behind it it's mind-blowing to me. I don't understand it whatsoever, and I wish that kind of stuff didn't happen, but unfortunately it happens more than you'd like to think. But I have huge goals for FormCheck Plus brand. Honestly, one day it would be cool, and it would be an ultimate goal of mine to get this brand on the Forbes list. Huge aspiration for me. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But the main takeaway is to just provide people with a service with the tips, tricks, and know-how that I wish I had that I didn't, because I'm self-coached, self-taught. Something that can help people, but also something that's accessible to them, that's a 24/7 game plan in their pocket. Anytime, anywhere they need it, they have access to it. And again, don't have to spend through the nose for it, because fitness, especially for longevity purposes, shouldn't cost that much. Another one of my goals is to do this for as long as I can. So I want to be like those 70 and 80-year-olds at the powerlifting competition. So we're still putting up 200 plus pounds on the bar every lift. And to do that, you need to make sure that your form is correct. You need to be doing mobility. You need to stay away from injury. And this app really has all of that all in one. It doesn't have nutrition specific stuff, but that's just because there's a ton of great apps out there like MyFitnessPal that I use daily that I think people would benefit from. And I'm just staying in my lane of what I know. I don't know it all. I'm still learning as I go, but I think 10 years in the gym is a pretty solid amount of time. So I'm just spreading what I know to everybody and trying to help people. And quite honestly, I'm the last person in the world that would walk up to somebody and shame them for something, whether they're starting out or they're doing something incorrectly. I want to help people. I don't want to bring them down. I set time aside every single day to go on my Instagram page for my app just to comment on people's videos. Doesn't matter who it is or what they're doing, whether it's sports, fitness, whatever. Whether it's a mom who is trying to get a workout in while taking care of her 5 kids and working a 9-to-5 job. I don't care who it is, what their background is. I want to say something nice to somebody every day and provide encouragement and positivity so that they can keep going on what they're doing and knowing that they're valuable, they have self-worth, and what they're doing matters, and that they can keep doing and they will reach their goals regardless of what anyone else says. So that's really the mission behind FormCheck Plus, is to provide that service to people, but also the positivity and encouragement that I never got, as you can see with the drawbacks and just the negativity that I faced along the way. So it's a culmination of all of that. And if you have any additional questions for me or something that you want me to go into more in depth about, I would love to do that. I'll create another video if you'd like, but this is kind of just the backstory behind the brand of FormCheck Plus, where I come from, why I created it, and my aspirations for it for the future, the Forbes list, hopefully eventually one day. But really, it's about giving back at the end of the day. It's about taking what I've learned and helping other people and wanting to see them succeed, wanting to see them do better, whether it's stepping on the platform or the stage for the first time, stepping in the gym, or just getting to learn how to do something like yoga, meditation, or even just creating and helping someone create a workout using no equipment. Maybe someone doesn't have the assets to do that. I want to help them out. I want to help people at the end of the day. And this is the best, most meaningful way I know how to do it, was to create this app and create this brand from my heart, something that I'm passionate about and can give back to you. So if you made it this far, thank you. And I hope that you are able to use this app and find it useful. If you don't have it, check it out. If you do have it, if you hate it, let me know. If you love it, let me know. I'm constantly working every day behind the scenes to make improvements to the app, to create more stuff so that it's accessible to not only people in sports and weightlifting, but again, anyone who's into like yoga, free weight movements, body weight, etc. And especially mindset stuff too, because it's up here that it allows you to push in everything else. So again, that's behind the brand of FormCheck Plus, and I hope you made it this far. Thank you guys so much, and I will see you later. Keep crushing it, because that's how you master your craft, perfect your form. Let's go.